Okay, I'm going to try to do a review on this as quick as I can, because this is the middle of work, so hopefully I can get this done without being interrupted. This is the Seiko Prospex SBDC063 J1. It should be a J1. Yeah, because it's a JDM model. And this is from Gnomon Watches in Singapore. And this is an exclusive because normally this model that has a blue bezel and black dial doesn't usually come on a bracelet. You can only get them on a rubber strap, which is nice, but I much prefer bracelets if I could. And somehow they're only offering, the only ones I know of that offer it with the original, with an original Seiko bracelet. And of course it costs a little bit more, but it's, you know, it's fair considering trying to find one of these probably separate. After, you know, they probably usually cost a lot more by themselves. So I said, what the hell, this is, I wasn't planning to get this, but since it came on this bracelet, I was like, you know what, this looks pretty darn nice from some of the reviews I've seen, especially after watching Bruce Williams' video, comparing this with the SBDC053, the 62 Moss reissue. That's blue dial, got a similar blue bezel, but it's a little bit different. Actually, it's not exactly the same. That's what I've been told. And let's see, this runs on a 6R15, and I'm not going to go too much into heavily in the specs, as you can find most of this stuff online. 44 case, but the thickness is about 13, and lug to lug is 51, but this wears really nicely, just the way the cases are cut on these Seikos usually. And as a reference, on my 6.875 inch wrist, you can see how this wears. It's actually, it has wrist presence, of course, but it is by no means overwhelming. I'm trying to get a longer distance shot. You can see it's quite thin, really, once it sits on the wrist. It's just the way this case is cut. You know, it's very, this bevel that's facing, or this edge that's facing kind of outwards towards you, which you will see the most, is relatively thin, and the rest is kind of gets tucked behind there and sinks into the wrist for the most part. And there's really no wrist gap, you know. And it's got a good weight, but it's not overly heavy. Solid mill clasp, at least this part that folds. End links are solid. Drill lug holes. And let's see, the quality's been pretty good, at least with the movement. I wore this for a week straight, and pretty much I maybe lost 1 second per, total of, after about 7-8 days, I lost about 7 seconds, maybe 8 seconds most. So basically it averages out to -1 second per day, although from Monday to Friday it pretty much held time without wavering for that first 4 or 5 days. And maybe it's because of my work habits, but on the weekends it did seem to kind of gain a lot more for some reason, but it stabilized during the week. It's kind of weird. So you can just basically average that to about -1 second a day, so very well. It has this Aratsu finish and the Diashield coating to help prevent scratches. And there's been reports of mixed quality. Some people have no problems. Some people have reported having a bezel, maybe not on this exact model, maybe the black version, where they've done a click. I think it was Just Watch is the YouTube channel. And you get the 120 click, but then for some reason, somewhere, once it comes around this way, it seems to have skipped, and you seem to be getting more like 60 clicks, and like it doesn't really have as many clicks, which is kind of weird. Some people have reported some slight also misalignment on the chapter. Yep, Seiko, come on. This one came out quite good, as you can see. So it's not really an issue. It's lined up pretty well. I would say if anything, it's just like a hair counterclockwise, but it's not even something to grieve over. I've seen much worse. I've had much worse. And again, the movement's good. Loom is obviously going to be very good, but it's not without its problems. The only thing I got was when I received it. You see, if I can focus on there. There was a slight nick in the case, a tiny one right there, and let's say I think there's about 2. You can see it in a reflection. 1, 2 right there, right on that edge, and right there, right in the bezel. So that was a bit disappointing, getting a new watch with these little tiny, scratches basically on it, especially when the rest of the case is so well finished. You got the famous Zaratsu finishing and the Daishio coating, which is supposed to prevent scratches, and I end up with 4 basically. So I can't really say much for Daishio coating because I've had that on my SBDN063's tuna can, and it's picked up scratches too. I don't know how good it is. I suppose it helps some bit, but I wouldn't rave too much about it. But at least it's something, I guess. And you can kind of feel it. It's like the surface of the metal doesn't feel like straight metal. There does seem like there is some sort of, as I say, coating on it. And so that is something that when you feel it, you can actually sort of feel that there is. It's not just a straight metal finish to your touch. So you do feel a slight coating on it. But other than that, overall, the finishing is, besides these little defects, it's quite good. It makes it look like a much more expensive watch. I think with the Daishio coating, it has a tendency to add a bit of luster to the metal as well. It's hard to explain, and it probably doesn't translate on camera as much as it does in person, but I can kind of see that. It just looks really nice in person and under different lighting. Looks like a much more higher end watch. I sometimes feel it's almost Seamaster-ish, but it's definitely its own thing. And I didn't want to return it. So these scratches, I didn't want to return it because they probably would have replaced it, but then I'd have to wait, and I said screw it. But I decided, no one's got good customer service, and let me see what will they do. I just kind of threw it out there just to see what they would do if I threw the problem back at them, to let them know that, hey, I got this watch just now. It's on that very same day I got it, and explained these spots, and I didn't ask them for anything. I just wanted to see what they would do. And the first thing was they said, well, sorry to hear that. Send it back to us. We'll replace it or whatever. And then I said, well, you know what? Screw it. Basically, I didn't want to deal with it. And so, I just said I will. It was disappointing because of the Zaratsu finish and the Daishio, that a brand new watch at this price point would come with these defects. But I didn't want to deal with returning it, so I'll just live with it. It's basically what I told them. And then they came back and offered me, well, basically they gave me back a $50 credit on this for my troubles. And so that was actually what I was kind of hoping for, that at least they would discount the watch, essentially. And so I got this for about $50 less than what they were selling it for. So it's under $800 for this whole package here. And honestly, if I wear this as much as I have been, and I really like this, you're going to get scratches anyway. So these are just kind of, I've ignored it pretty much after day one. It's, they don't really show up for the most part when I'm wearing it, and in most angles, it's so minor. And it kind of takes the edge off of keeping it absolutely pristine, because you kind of know that you already have some imperfections. Anyways, other than that, this is a great thing. This has been a great watch, and I think it's been nicknamed a couple of things. The first thing I heard is Marine Master 200 because it's 200 meters, and obviously it looks a lot like a Marine Master. Let me just bring up this picture up here. zoom up. And as you can see, there is heavy resemblance to a Marine Master. Indices are a little bit different. I think at least these three, the 12, 9, and 6, are a bit more squared off on that. And their bezel is a little bit thicker around the edge. This one, as you can see, like just the thickness of, come on, get this in focus. Anyways, this thickness around here is actually a bit slimmer, and you can tell by the numbers, the way they're written, as compared to how they are on the Marine Master. They're a bit taller. This is a bit more flattened. Sorry about the focus. And I believe overall this watch is slimmer too. You know, just the way it's on the side profile, and I think the bezel isn't quite as high. So, but that's, I like this. It's like a slimmer version of it. Definitely doesn't cost nearly as much. I think at best this is half the price, but you know, I think the Marine Master is what they go for, over $2, even used, even more so now since it's been discontinued. I think they're becoming more of a collector's item. And even over $3,000, especially for the new anniversary edition. So they just put out when this was released in, or mentioned in SIAH 2018. But this does it for me. It has most of its looks, but without the fat thickness or the price tag. The only thing that I'm going to change on here is I don't like the handsets particularly, because they're basically the same one that's on the 62 Moss reissue, the SBDC051, 053, and so forth. The less expensive 62 Moss reissue, which is, you know, more of a modern take. And these are basically the same hands as on a lot of the modern tunas. So I'm going to go back to the Marine Master hands, which I got from Yaboki's. And I'm going to get these on here so it looks closer to this guy up here. And I think that'll definitely make it look better. I don't really care for this handset. They did a job for now, but I think this will look so much better after I get these on. The colors are pretty good matched, although it's not perfect when I look at it. These are just a little bit more white, and these have a slightly more green tint to them. They both glow green, although this is stronger, of course. It's actually Seiko Lume, but for what they have here, it's not bad. But I think I might do some custom work, and to open this, I'm gonna scrape out the old Lume and put in some blue one, which actually has a slightly greenish tint. If you've seen my Night King mod for the SKX, basically that's the same Lume I'm going to use, and I'm going to fill it in with that, and it'll look actually visually in natural light closer to this, and I think it'll give it a nice different kind of tone, matching with a little bit of the blue theme. And I'm going to see if I can switch reuse the crown from my SKX on here that has the signed S that's loomed in blue as well. It may not work, but since I'm going to crack it open, I'm going to pull the stems out and compare the length, and then I'll just test fit and see if the other crown works. If it does, cool. If not, then oh well. I'll probably just stick with this until maybe they offer an aftermarket one that works with this. And so yeah, so this is going to get it more of that Marine Master look, and I think it's just better than the arrow hands. It'll allow it to actually be even slightly classier, something you could dress up. You know, it's just these arrow pointers make it look a bit too toolish, and these kind of make it a little bit more elegant. And you got the Lume pip at the end instead of, at the pointer end instead of at the back. And I think I might do a bicolor thing, make it blue and green, because it's split. And I think because it's green, I'm going to keep the dial green. It'll help tie in the theme of at least putting in, or keeping just even a little bit of green in the handset instead of just making them all blue. And if I do get that crown on here that has the blue Lume, then that will also kind of help tie in, but that's we'll see if that even is possible. I'm not sure if this fits. Oh, this the crown feels really solid and stiff, like not like hard to turn, but it's like this feels solid, and it turns in really quick, no fuss. I never some crowns, you know, you kind of have to figure, oh, where's it catching, and then you get it. But this one always seems to find its way real easily and lock right in really good. And for those who've been talking or waiting, oh, I wish they had a blue dial, I'll wait for that. Well, don't have to wait too much longer, because they actually have something in the works here, which is the SBDC063J1. That's the handset I got right there from your Bokies. Obviously it's on SKX, but I'll work on this. What was that? And it's called, you see here, the Great Blue Hole Special Edition. Let me get a better look. It's got a blue strap, and the dial is blue. I can't change the color balance on this right now. Sorry, it's kind of whacked. It's color balance for something else. But let's see here if I got a better picture. So you get a blue dial. It actually looks kind of like the blue that's on this bezel. It's not like a complete navy. It's kind of, there's a tint of green in it. Make it kind of aqua-ish. But from what I can tell, this is blue radiant with a blue chapter ring. I'm not too sure about the bezel. It could be either a very dark blue or it could be black. So essentially the reverse of this one, more or less. Don't know when the hell this is coming out. It's going to be everything else has the same should have the same specs. Interesting. This shows that it has actually a sapphire crystal, which I thought this still has. I was under the impression. Oh no, this does have sapphire. This does have sapphire on it too. It's not Heartlex. Cool. And you get a special box and blue accordion strap. Yeah, but I don't think you get a second. You know what? You do get two straps then, since this comes with the blue accordion strap, and you see it on this bracelet. So that's pretty cool. But I'm not gonna switch, and I don't know what these are in rubles, rubies, or even in yen. This, and let me just show you some pictures here. There was like a new Zimby for the actual Marine Master 300, the new one. Pretty cool. Actually, it kind of seems patty-like because it has some red accents. But anyways, I'll show you some things that I think that are coming up, like these new Seiko 5s. Looks like they have like kind of like a monster thing going on here with the handset, and I'm not sure how I don't know if you can see how the bezel is with the way it's gripped. Kind of looks like it has a slight, you know, scalloped edges, sort of like the monster. I wouldn't doubt it because this kind of looks like it a little bit. You know, that orange dial, even a Coke that might be popular, and orange. I wonder if this will be the same as a turtle, or this is like dark blue, and I don't know if they still put blue in there with the orange edition that they had. I don't know, maybe not. And here it is, the SPB083, and I'm pretty sure you can expect this to be. There's a Marine Master. You can basically expect this model here to have more colors in the near future. Won't take long since they basically got this out. Almost certain there'll be a patty version. Maybe they'll do a green one, but I don't know if they're saving that just for their actual Marine Master 300 that they made in green with that ceramic bezel. Who knows? Maybe a Pepsi version, you know, SKX like. These are some very common stuff. They might add gilt in there. You can basically expect everything that you've pretty much seen in the turtles, or the samurais, or sumos, anything other divers. They'll translate a version of that probably into this at some point. anyways, I think that's it. So the next time I come back, I might just show off these new hands on here, and hopefully I can do the loom right. It'll look pretty awesome. Okay, that's basically it. It's a really good solid watch other than small defects, but it actually performs. This is one of the best performing watches I've had so far, considering, like, again, over a week I basically lost only minus 1 second a day, which is really good. Well be under cost specs, and couldn't have asked for more. Alright, thanks for watching.